What's going on, guys? We're back with another video. I want to thank you guys for all the support. I think we have two 1,000 view videos. One is approaching 1,000, and I think one is at 200 views. So for my first week doing it, I thank everybody for watching. Let's get straight into it. The UFC is ruining Conor McGregor's life, his family, and his reputation. Everyone knows without fighting, with all the money Conor McGregor has, he's just on like a path of destruction. The alcohol, the partying, beating up old guys at a club, at a bar. When this guy's not fighting, he's a menace to society. We all know it. But the UFC is contributing to that problem right now. Everyone knows the UFC is trying to negotiate a new TV deal with ESPN. But the UFC doesn't have any stars right now. We already discussed it in a video a couple of days ago. They have Alex Pereira, Ilya Saporia, Islam Makhachev. That's about it. They don't have... Conor McGregor hasn't fought in, 3 years? But they can always use his name in negotiations because he has 2 fights left. So he's going to fight eventually. But why are they making him wait so long? Well, because they're still negotiating. So once they get done negotiating, I guarantee he'll fight next year. But they have to hold him out. And while they're holding him out, you can see on any video, Conor McGregor is begging for a fight. He's saying he's out of the loop. He doesn't know how to reach Dana and Hunter anymore. It's honestly just getting sad because, with all the money he has, he came up from fighting. If the guy's not in the cage, he's drinking, smoking, in the club, doing coke. Without the UFC, this guy's nothing. You see his tweets on Twitter. You see his posts on Instagram. They're not getting the same amount of likes they used to. The guy hasn't done... He talks all the talk, but he never gets in the cage. And I'll say, yes, it was his fault the last time he got into Michael Chandler. He got injured, but you really can't blame him. His leg really got snapped in half. But he's been asking for a fight. He's been asking for a fight for years. He's been begging for a fight. And the UFC just keeps saying, oh, we'll do this, we'll do that. But they're holding him out. And the longer they hold him out, the worse he gets. And what's wrong with Conor McGregor is he doesn't realize. Every time he's in the bar, every time he has bad publicity. Every time he goes crazy at a fight, or he just looks unstable. The UFC can use that as a reason to say, Conor McGregor's doing this. Conor McGregor's obviously in the bar. He's not focused on fighting. The guy has nothing to focus on. They're not even giving him fights. He finally got a fight. That was the cleanup raising Conor McGregor on social media. He wasn't posting anything about drinking. He would promote his beer. You can see in the video on Nightlife, he's not even drinking. But when he has nothing to train for, the guy's just a wreck. He has nothing else to do. His whole life has been fighting his whole career. When he was the champ, when he was the most popular fighter in the UFC, he was fighting 3 times a year, 4 times a year. Now he's sitting on the sidelines. Bro, he has nothing to do. He has billions of dollars. If you were in his position, I'm not going to say you'd be doing the same thing, but you would also have trouble just staying out. You would have trouble just being a regular person, not doing anything crazy. When you're around all that stuff in LA, all the partying, the drinking, the bad vibes, the Illuminati, everything going on down there, of course you're going to fall into it. But the UFC can really pull him out of that by just saying, look, we know you're hurt right now, but you're going to fight blah, blah in December. You're going to fight him in January. All you need to do is just give him a date, and his whole life would change drastically. Right now, he has nothing to look forward to. His whole life has been fighting. What else can he do? He can't even go box. They haven't locked down a 360 deal. The guy just wants to get in the cage. He wants to get in the box ring. He wants to do something with his life. And it's honestly sad that the UFC is just holding him back from that. Every interview, the guy is saying, please. He's begging them for a fight. Even in 2021 when he fought Dustin Poirier, coming back, he had to organize a charity fight with Dustin Poirier for the UFC to even guarantee that they would fight each other. Look it up. They were going to fight for charity because the UFC wouldn't give Conor McGregor a fight. But why is the UFC trying to hold out their biggest star? It makes no sense. But it makes obvious sense. If he fights these 2 fights out and gets his deal over with, who is the UFC going to have to negotiate? We have Islam Makhachev. He sold how many pay-per-views? 200, 300,000. Alex Pereira, 450, 500,000. Ilya Saporia hasn't sold any yet. So ESPN's going to look at them and say, who do you guys really have on the roster that's going to make us a lot of money if Conor McGregor is not there? Nobody. Conor McGregor could fight a fish. He would still at least get 1 million pay-per-views. He's that big. But they're ruining his life. And I honestly feel bad for Conor. You can tell he wants to fight. You can tell this has been his everything since 15, 16 years old. And to be held out of it, not even getting answers, not being able to communicate, not being able to talk to the fans, not being able to go up on your word. I know it hurts him. And Michael Chandler had no choice but to move on. The UFC is just holding both of them back at this point. At least to get Michael Chandler a fight against a number one contender fight. But to do this to Conor McGregor is honestly just sad. And it's corrupt, to be honest. Dana White knows what he's doing. And at some point, it's going to mess up Conor McGregor's whole life, even worse than it has now. He might actually do something to go to jail. He might hurt himself even worse than he's doing now. Honestly, at this point, I think Conor McGregor needs to get legal help or something. Just to get out this deal and just really just give him the fights he needs or the date he needs so he can get help. But, I mean, that's the business. The UFC's corrupt. They want to make all the money they can. They're fighting the best cards are in Saudi Arabia. They don't care about anything about the fans. They care about the money. That's what everyone cares about. That's why every Saudi Arabia card is stacked to the brim. It's better than the UFC 300 card. Why is that? Because they're getting paid to do it. They know everything's run by money, and Dana White wants all of it. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe for more. I'll see you next video.